The world is changing, and it might be the beginning of a new age. Here in the 21st century, virtual reality video games are hitting the consumer market like crack. Every day, new experiences infiltrate the gaming market, fundamentally shaking the way people play games and interact with one another. New games, new mechanics, new opportunities.
I can't see! You better calm down and turn this car around!
But despite great innovations, many challenges still face the industry. Let's face it, big problems with many of the VR platforms remain unsolved. Nonetheless, new ideas have new consequences. And recently, things have been changing. As of today, there are over 2,000 unique virtual reality video games out on the market, each representing differing visions, competing ideas and philosophies on how VR games should feel and behave. But out of this chaos, a new paradigm for multiplayer has emerged.
I'll save you. Ready whenever you guys are.
Since the dawn of time, people have wanted one thing, and that is to play video games with their friends. In the beginning, this was accomplished with the beloved and iconic split-screen co-op mode, the golden era of cooperative gaming. Games were social, strategic, and often very challenging. This was then immediately killed by online matchmaking, as developers realized they could turn friends and families who had shared their games in the past into more paying customers. A golden era of gaming cut short by developments in technology. But thankfully, that's not the end of our story. As time moved on and technology evolved, virtual reality headsets emerged, and a new medium was born, allowing games that challenged what it meant to be online and playing games with your friends.
Close off me. Oh, he's got my arms! Cortana!
This new medium provoked questions that had never been asked before, like, what do we define as physics? How is that supposed to work? And where do we stop? Consequently, our developer friends were then enlisted to solve challenges that no one had ever encountered before. For many game developers, the concept of a stable and physics-respecting VR multiplayer platform remains a pipe dream. But I think that's changed. Today, we're looking at a very special VR game, one with immense potential that I think has been largely hidden from public knowledge. Today, we're looking at the 7 ways BONELAB VR has redefined the concept of multiplayer for you and your friends. I hope you enjoy. Hi, I'm Master Chief, here to talk to you about how real VR multiplayer has become possible through the power of internet modding. But you know what else has become possible through the internet? Me. As I'm sure you're aware, YouTube does not always do a good job of supporting the smaller channels. So if you're new here, which, come on, you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. It's simple, easy, and you can always remove it later if you change your mind. And if you're enjoying this video, please be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you. In today's day and age, there really are countless different types of VR games available for you to choose from. Each game bears a unique perspective on the VR space, usually in the form of a new mechanic or a clever implementation. But the one thing that they all have in common: I keep punching my walls. Throughout this experience, I've learned that not all VR games are made equally, and I'm not surprised, because VR games in particular are notoriously difficult to get right. Look, I'm no developer, but from what I can tell, getting a standard, decent, single-player VR game into a working and fun state is like winning the lottery, or hiring a ton of people who actually know what they're doing. Either way, it's a bunch of money. Okay, so you got single player. Then, from there, in order to make a comparable game with multiplayer, what you need to do is do that again, but this time across multiple systems, at the same time, 80 times a second, forever. Oh, and for some reason nothing works normally anymore. Oh, you wanted to add in, like, objects and physics? Yeah, good luck with that.
I have a slight headache.
For some reason, the task of implementing multiplayer into many of the popular VR games is so brutal that we see most developers just tap out. Many of them get to a point where they have to stop and stand there, confronting their steaming pile of netcode, shrug and say, yeah, we're not doing that. So instead, you occasionally end up with these really quality games that should have multiplayer, but just don't. And then some poor local abused modder is gifted the honorable duty of figuring out how to make it all work. Power to the fucking people, I guess. On the other side, there are some games that do actually have dedicated VR multiplayer. However, if we're honest, they're often reduced to very limited forms of interaction, such as option 1, no collisions. This is by far the saddest kind of VR. You and your friends are essentially limited to ghost mode, where you just exist around each other. The environment is just there for decoration, and the only meaningful physics is gravity and the floor. Special features include whatever the hell this is. Option 2 is some collisions. Some collisions goes further than no collisions. Most of the time, this is usually just you shooting each other. Again, not with real bullets, because that would be very hard. A lot of these games also tend to cheap out on my arms and legs. Where are my legs? Also, check out this knife. It works exactly like you think it would. From what I've experienced, most VR titles tend to fall into one of those two categories, but not this one. It's time for you to meet BONELAB, a VR title that is marketed as a standalone single-player VR game. Comes with a solo campaign experience, fun for the whole family, whatever. That's the official optic. But in my opinion, that is a really poor description of what this game actually is. I'm gonna stand on this here pedestal and proclaim that BONELAB might possibly be the most impressive multimodal, multiplayer-enabled, modding-friendly game on the entire fucking VR market. Yeah, let's unpack that. Where countless other VR games have failed in the past, BONELAB changes the game. BONELAB doesn't just support multiplayer, it redefines it, and shows that physical presence means more than just proximity. That presence matters. Not just, I see you, but I pissed my friend off and now he's Godzilla. And he's kinda got me. You know, that kind of presence. Presence means physics. It means consequences. It means I, Spidey Man, strap you to a missile, start the engine, and watch the whole thing unfold in 4K. No more crystal blue for you, Walter White. In this game, your character is a robust virtual entity that will be knocked out, confined, launched, abducted, impacted, manhandled, a number of things. Provided your play space is big enough not to hit the damn wall. Never mind. And it's that fundamental shift here, from proximity to presence, that's reinventing the concept of multiplayer for the entire gaming industry. But how is this possible? What makes this multiplayer even work? And it's true. It's almost unbelievable. And it would be, without... In order to understand how any of this is possible, you first need to really understand that BONELAB VR multiplayer is actually just a mod. Yep, you heard me. But this isn't your everyday normal mod. No. This mod is a state-of-the-art interoperability framework for facilitating online multiplayer interactions and real-time physics synchronization. A true VR industry innovation of our time, set up by developers and slam dunked by modders. And here's how it happened. Early in the game's design phase, BONELAB's developers decided to take their game in a new direction. And in a moment of defining foresight, the developers decided that their game would be built to be modded. And to facilitate this vision, they created something special. What they created was a dedicated, open, and moddable foundation that existed under every core aspect of the game. In other words, they created a pipeline, or a set of tools that would allow anyone to use, rewrite, add, edit, or exploit the game engine as they saw fit. This wasn't surface-level modding. They give you full access to the game's core systems. We're talking full control over a player's physical rig, avatar muscle simulation, interactive physics objects, level editing, physics, its various interpretations, reprogrammable assets, everything. All intentionally exposed for people like us to build on top of. And they called this framework Marrow. Where most games will limit modders to sandbox content, Marrow lets you rewrite how the game actually behaves. Because this design wasn't slapped on as an afterthought. It was built from day one, with modding access as a core design pillar. And that's why we see a lot of these tools being professional grade. It's a full Unity pipeline with asset packaging, animation support, avatar scaling, all integrated into Marrow. This meant that serious modders could now work together, share pipelines, and build systems that felt like real developer content, because in some ways, they basically were. This was a unique and special kind of access, unlike anything that is normally made available to the public. Most other popular VR games that are moddable have strict limitations and keep you on the very surface level of modding access. You may be able to import a map or add a new player model, but fundamentally, many of the core behaviors are locked in, unable to be overwritten, only reskinned. BONELAB, as we've seen, is a completely different story. This here is a game that hands players the keys and says, do as you will. And interestingly, this is a new kind of development. It's a departure from what we've normally seen. Modding wasn't an afterthought here, it was the point. BONELAB doesn't have mod support. The game is an architectural solution to an unsolved problem, and the only reason it's here is because of a rare moment of alignment, where a talented game studio gave the world real tools, and a dedicated community embraced those tools, using them to create something greater. And the result of this collaborative symbiosis? A multiplayer mod called Fusion. A seamless, physics-respecting, and functional VR multiplayer mod, made by the community, so that people can do the one thing they want to do. play video games with their friends. There you have it. It's a new age of VR multiplayer, set up by devs and slam dunked by modders. And it's pretty good.
Mamma mia!
Yeah, I need to find John Connor.
Roger, roger.
Once you get settled, you start to realize that you now have access to a truly insane amount of community-generated content. We're talking player models, weapons, maps, game modes, missiles, vehicles, admin tools, and a lot more. So much more. Content that you click a button online and then automatically have synced and downloaded in-game. No installer, no file moving. Wow. This game makes me feel like a kid in a candy shop. And as much as I want to drag this video on and on, we're gonna have to save the best stuff for the next video. BONELAB started as a single-player sandbox, but with a little help from the devs, the modders have turned it into a living and breathing world. A place where physics matters, where the character you play means something, and where the line between player and creator starts to disappear. BONELAB isn't just a game anymore. It's a glimpse into where VR as a medium is headed. We're early, but it's happening, and I'm excited to share this future with you. And if you want to help shape that future, you can now support the channel on Patreon, so that we might continue to explore these topics together. Out of the 7 ways that BONELAB is currently redefining our virtual landscape, we've really only begun to scratch the surface. These first 2 are the foundation, physics and presence, and how modders have used what's here to create a new kind of social gameplay. The rest? Those deserve their own deep dives. So if you want to keep exploring this with me, you'll find them in the playlist when they're ready. Be sure to subscribe to support the channel and stay tuned for upcoming releases. And if you're feeling adventurous, you can join my Discord community to get access to all of my upcoming sneak peeks and projects, in addition to becoming a valued member of the community. Also, if you happen to be a modder and have experience making content for BONELAB, reach out. Let's build something together. And with that, thanks for watching. I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.